Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. I'm so glad that you're here, whether you're watching us live or watching the video on Indie Book Source or YouTube or Facebook later on, or if you're even just listening on a podcast. Not just listening on the podcast is every bit as good. Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
And Kelly Marshall says, I made it tonight.
Kelly.
Yay, Kelly. We're really glad that you're in the audience. Join the fun. CW says, howdy,
Hi,
Rob
CW.
and Joan. Oh, George DeSmuke
George.
says, okay, I'm on board and my life vest is buckled.
That-
I'm surprised. I thought you would be packing for Oklahoma.
He's got his life vest on because it's going to rain a lot in the morning.
Buckets. And Paul Hollis says, hi, Rob and Joe. Hello,
Hey, Paul.
Paul. We're glad to see you. And Kelly Marshall said, glad to be here. Marissa. Hi, Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
Welcome to the show. We're glad that you can make it. And Marjorie Deering
Hey,
says,
Marjorie.
hi, Rob, Joan, CJ too. Hello, Marjorie. We're so
She can
glad
hear
you're
you.
here. Yeah, Marjorie. Yeah.
So,
Yes,
it's almost November.
it is.
Yes.
Oh, look who's here. Roxanne Berkey.
Hey,
Hello, Joan
Rox.
and Robbie.
Robbie Cheadle.
Robbie Cheadle.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right.
Okay, Roxy.
All right. Well,
Okay.
tomorrow night, right here, actually, pretty much the same place you're watching now, you can catch Haunted Campfire Tales tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time here in the U.S. Our Tampa Bay Spirits panel will be discussing time slip versus residual hauntings. Whew, that sounds really cool. Sounds like something out of science fiction, right?
Where Roxanne says, sorry, Rob, I hate autofill.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, when I'm texting, though, it does save me a lot of time, but it's often a very funny outcome. And Marissa said, my birthday is next month on the 1st.
Oh, well,
All
happy
Saints
birthday.
Day. Mhm.
Drop back by next
Birthday.
Wednesday during the show, and we'll wish you happy birthday again.
Joe Conjal says, sounds like Halloween fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
it should be a good show. Anybody that needs help in the Tampa Bay Spirits area, contact tampabayspirits1.com. And that's the number 1, not the spelling. And get a hold of us that way. And we'd be happy to come out, and we don't charge anything, and come out and help you.
Right. I think that, like Joe said, sounds like Halloween fun. It's too bad that we didn't think about that we could have had a really
Halloween,
scary
yeah.
kind of story. We're doing this show about time slips.
Yeah.
So are you really hearing from spirits, or is it a time slip or a different reality? That kind of thing. Kind of
It'll be
explore
fun.
that. It'll be fun.
Could be scary.
But in the meanwhile, if anyone has a really scary, true story, we would love to hear it.
Yeah. You won't have
Tomorrow
any jump.
night.
We won't have any jump scares.
Nah.
Nah, don't like those. Episode Rewind this coming Saturday is Brakefield and Berkey. Rox,
Hi,
we're going to be
Roxy.
on Saturday night at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this Saturday, October 28th. Next week's guest, same time, same place right here, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. November 1st is author Kay Hancock. And she looks like she's going to be an interesting, insightful guest. We want to remind everybody about Book World, The Great Escape podcast. It's at 1 o'clock Central Time here in the U.S. Every Wednesday afternoon. So it was on this afternoon, but set your alarm so that you'll watch it. You can catch that at CJ Peterson on YouTube. Voice of Indie podcast following this show with Beam Weeks and Gary G's, not on this station. But if you watch to the end of this show, there's a little tutorial on how to get over to their podcast.
They're on Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, Blog Talk Radio.
Or no, Blog Talk.
Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, okay.
.com. Anyway, the only news we have is a reminder that you need to check out 10 Million Ways to Die. That's book 18 by C.W. Hayes.
C.W. Hayes. Do
pause.
we know him?
Hayes.
I don't know.
Autocorrect. It's autocorrect. It does that to me every time.
See, Roxanne,
Book 18 and
you don't
Magnolia.
even need autofill for that.
That's right. Magnolia Bluff
Yes.
Crime Chronicles, available on Amazon. Okay.
Connie Cleary says, hello, everyone. Hi, Connie. We're
Hi,
so glad you
Connie.
can make the
Welcome
show. And
aboard.
Roxanne Berkey said, wow, thanks you too. You were so supportive. We love doing it, Roxanne. And
Yeah.
always your time on the show has always been great. Joe Conchel says, feel free to check out book 17 too, LOL.
Yeah. Well, only if you have
Absolutely.
a second chance. Hey, it's called Second Chances, and it's book 17 in the Magnolia Bluff series by Joe Conchel. Conchel.
Conchel, you
Conchel.
said it right.
I did.
Okay.
Well, enough of us.
Yes, let's bring on
Tired of
tonight's
that.
guest.
We're going to get on over to our guest and bring in CJ Peterson.
Hi.
Hi, CJ. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. The Magnolia Bluff series is amazing. I have all of them in my Kindle.
Oh,
They're up.
good.
Perfect. Perfect. That's
Oh.
great. Keep them coming.
Roxanne says C.W. Hawes is a remarkable author. He is. Read it and write a review soon.
Definitely.
And
He's actually coming on Book World at the end of November.
oh,
Awesome.
good.
Awesome.
Roxanne says hello, CJ.
He's a lot of fun.
George Dismuke says, yo, CJ, what is it? What it was? What it going to be?
Hey, George.
Oh,
And Kelly Marshall, we have a lot of comments. Kelly Marshall said, can't wait to read your Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles.
Hi, Kelly. I know Kelly said she was coming too.
Yes.
okay.
Kelly Marshall says the cover is scary.
It is scary.
CW's cover is awesome.
Well, it's either awesome or scary. It's awesomely scary.
Really awesome. I mean, it is October, so it's allowed to be scarily awesome.
There you go. Scarily
There
awesome.
you go. Well, and now you have moved to Oklahoma. You're in the process of a long move to Oklahoma. And I was just wondering, are you still going to carry the same name for your publishing company?
Yes, because it was founded by two Texas sisters. So
That's what I said to Rob.
Okay.
I said,
Texas Sisters
he
Press.
said, is it still going to be Texas Sisters?
It
Press?
is.
I said, they're still Texas Sisters. So I'm thinking, yeah.
and one of the sisters is still in Texas. So
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm sure that you're going to enjoy your new house and have a.
we're not there yet. We're, oh gosh.
I know.
We moved at the end of September and we're currently in an Airbnb. And so it's very frustrating because there's a lot of stuff that we need to get our hands on. Like I know Rod kept asking me if I had my book handy. I don't. I had to print it because it's in a box in the storage room. So we got a lot of
I'm
stuff.
sorry.
So,
And then you didn't get your covers up for your single.
so it's like
your standalone books. Sorry.
it's okay. It's a move in progress. We hope to close here in a few days, within the next week or so, and then it's going to be a slow move from the storage shelters storage sheds into the house. So
Yeah.
it's a progressive move. It's a painful way to do it.
Yes. We've been there, done that.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Don't want to do that again.
No.
We really like it here. We are getting rain. Sorry for those who are not in Texas. Apparently we've got it for you. I was talking to Mike Clifton down in Mount Pleasant today, and he said that they need the rain. And I'm like, you can have some of it because we've had it for 2 days.
Well, George
Roxanne
actually.
wants to know what happens to the beehives, CJ.
We sold them to another beekeeper.
Oh,
No, we made sure they were taken care of. Yep, we
Good.
sold them to another beekeeper before we moved, so it's okay.
yeah. Well, that's nice. Are you going to have beehives where you are moving to, or no?
No, because it's not in the country.
Okay. It's more of a suburban kind of place.
It's an allotment, a development, so they really kind of frown on that. So.
Yeah, they probably frown on chicken coops and all that kind of
But
stuff.
it's none of their business.
But we have located a beekeeper within 30 miles of the house. So we've already started on honey for allergies and stuff.
Oh, it's so good to buy it when it's produced close to home. I mean, it has so many medicinal properties. It's amazing. And it tastes too.
Yeah, it's good for your immunity anyway, but it's if you can get it within 30 miles of your house, it helps you with your
better. Yep.
But it has to be the real stuff. It can't be the watered down stuff in the grocery store.
No,
it has to be the real stuff.
Yep, raw honey.
The real deal.
Yep. And it does taste better. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably a little bit too much, but there you go. Dwyer M. Michelle says, hi there. Hello there.
Hi,
Glad you're in the audience. Okay. Now, how have you been doing besides the moving in progress move?
I had a book launched, Tested by Fire, that was launched in September. Super excited about that one. You know me, I'm kind of multi-genre. This is my shot at romance. So this is the first book that I've had that does not have any sci-fi, paranormal, fantasy sort of issues with it. And so, yeah, it was a challenge. I had to hold myself back really hard. But it was a challenge and I liked it. So I'm super excited about that. And I've already started on the next series, which again, I'm multi-genre. So this one's going to be Renaissance phase. So swords type, King Arthur time frame sort of deal. So
fun. Is it going to be fantasy, paranormal, or?
No, it's going. I haven't figured it out if it's going to be swords and sorcery, if it's just going to be swords yet. I haven't quite figured that out yet. I'm still toying around with it. But right now it's in the period of like King Arthur type period. So castles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a trilogy. And the way I write my series is I write the whole thing out so I can release them within like 2 to 3 months of each other.
Oh, that's a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And so here it is. Let me put this up again. Tested by Fire.
This one has been a long time in the works. I got the idea from my author friend, Patty Wiseman. We were at the East Texas Writers Association, and she's like, you can put different prompts to, a whole group of authors and come across a totally different story by the time they get to it. She goes, for example, like when a fire marshal falls in love with an arsonist, and she went on with a couple other examples. And I'm like, hey, I could do that. So what I did is I did the fire marshal falling with an arsonist before he realizes she's the arsonist. The arsonist is a she. And so it kind of
unusual too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Most arsonists are men, right?
About 6% are female.
Yeah.
That takes you kind of through her journey. When I go to read the small part, it's the beginning of she's like 8. And then later on, it jumps in the chapter to where like 7 years later. So you get to kind of grow with her and figure out what her fascination is with fire and why. So it's kind of a unique perspective. She does find herself in a lot of trouble. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not giving away anything.
Well, she's an arsonist, so
things are kind of dicey. But it's why she's an arsonist and how she gets to be one. And of course, me, moral dilemma person too.
Yes.
What's the fire marshal going to do about it when he figures out it's her? So.
And Marjorie Daring says, see someone else rotating their fires. Because we've had a lot of discussions on, changing genres. Some authors are nervous about it because they feel like they have an audience and they have people that they're reaching. And if they change genres, maybe their audience won't follow them. And
let's see. And I have a theory about that.
Good.
Why do we don't lock actors and actresses into certain genres? Why do we lock artists into certain genres? I don't feel that should be done. As long as you're not going from like Christian fiction to erotica, you should be okay to play around with the different genres. So all of mine are Christian fiction, but I tell people it's not your mama's Christian fiction. But it is Christian fiction. And I play around with the different genres. I have the paranormal one. I have a time travel one. I have one that's fully sci-fi. I have this one, which is romance, and now I'm working on like a more historical, besides the time travel one, but this one's a little more historical because it's actually set in that time.
Right.
So,
Instead of hopping back and forth. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So,
you're going to get the whole feeling of being in that time. Yeah.
exactly.
Great.
So
Roxanne says CJ is so creative. She
Thank
is.
no, I enjoy playing with the genres. I like to challenge myself. And like Mike and I were talking today about we're talking originally about paragraph and chapter lengths. But we're also talking about, messing around with it being too wordy. And I said a good way to challenge yourself is to write a short story, because it's going to teach you that you can tell a whole entire story in a very short thing. It teaches you to use your words a little bit more conservatively.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Conchal has a question. Hi, CJ. Do you outline your books or are you a pantser?
I am a poster child pantser. I never know how my books are going to end once I start them. I don't have any sort of outline whatsoever. I tell people I sit down, pray, and type until I can't type anymore. And then I'll sit down, pray, read the last chapter, and just keep going. And eventually, somehow, God makes it all flow together.
Awesome.
So, yep, it's fun.
And it's not easy
Mm-mm.
for a mom who runs a publishing company
Yeah.
and is moving.
Yeah. A couple of things have kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. There's a couple of projects I'm working on. Like this year, we didn't do the annual holiday anthology because I knew we'd be in the middle of a move. So Texas Sisters Press didn't do that this year, but we'll probably pick it back up next year. I'm also working on another project. I was a speaker for a Christian Writers Conference, an all-week conference in Pennsylvania this year in July. And I actually taught the sci-fi fantasy group. It was like a work in progress thing, so it was an entire week. And by the end of the week, I came up with the idea that the kids in the class and a couple of the adults that took the class as well, we're actually writing a trilogy of our own. So, and that is sci-fi fantasy. So we got to be able to kind of blend together. So I love doing unique things like that. So like each person gets a chapter in the book. So not like the Magnolia Bluff series is the entire series is an anthology. This is just the trilogy itself as an anthology within the pages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it turns out.
Right? Roxanne says that is a good economy of words and great exercise to test yourself, going back to the short story.
Definitely.
And that's true. Yeah. We just have talked to so many authors, and I think what you have to do is what you have to do, and not worry about what everybody else said should and shouldn't be done, because it's your voice, right?
Yeah, definitely. And each person is unique, and your voice is what makes you as an author. And that's what the reader likes. Whatever that voice is what the reason that they follow.
And there's somebody out there that wants to hear your voice.
Exactly.
It's probably more than one person, so that's good. A lot of people in the world, and we're all unique.
Well, I tell people, I'm like, to me, the author community is not in competition with each other.
No.
There is, there's a myriad of radio stations. There's a myriad of authors. Yes. As long as you find one that you like I'll even go to book shows or different Comic-Con stuff. If I find authors, I find out what their genre is, because the first question I ask somebody is, what's your favorite genre? What do you like to read? And if it's not me, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to send you to somebody that will make you a happy reader. Because to me, reading is starting to be a lost art, and I'd rather have a happy reader than sell a book.
Yes, that's true. We think reading is so important, and it is a lost art. It's too bad too, because I read all the time when I was younger. I mean, I really did. And I liked being in different worlds and exploring different things. And I liked a lot of different genres myself. I never did get into romance. And boy, the romance authors I know do really well and are great writers. It's just I never did get into that, but I was I loved historical novels. I loved classics. I loved theater. I loved murder. I loved everything. Murder mysteries, science fiction, you name it.
Yeah, and it's fun, especially now with the power of 3. Yes. But like, especially with everything that's being remade, you know, you can actually read a book and read something original, especially from indie authors, because a lot of people try to, you know, just toss the indie authors to the side and stick to the mainstream. The indie authors are what's bringing the original work in that will take your mind to new levels, that you're not rewatching the same thing or rereading the same formula over and over.
Tropes. All the same tropes. You know what though, what you were saying before about, you know, that artists shouldn't be boxed in and only be able to do one form of art. Like you said, you know, actors and actresses can do all different kinds of roles and nobody bats an eyelash. Also in movies, indie movies are really looked after and thought of as a great thing. And that's why we try to get people to say they're indie authors, not self-published. Self-published has, for some reason, it has a bad name, and it shouldn't. But indie authors are great authors, and small publishing companies are great publishing companies. And to tell you the truth is the big publishers, we've had New York Times bestsellers on here. We have another one coming out fairly soon. They have to go out and do their own marketing and everything themselves anyhow.
They do.
So the big publishers, they do get much bigger advances. Yes.
Well, you know, we can't all live that way.
Wouldn't be a bad thing, I suppose.
None of us would say no.
Right.
I wouldn't turn it down if there's any big ones coming up there. Call me.
There you go. We need to take our break.
Let me know. I got lots for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anybody wants to give you $100,000 advance, you'd say yes.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Contact me. cjpetersonwrites@yahoo.com. Come, let me know.
Take the book. I'm good.
I'm good.
Well, speaking of that, we do need to take a break.
Okay.
So hear from our sponsors, and we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. Don't go away.
Yeah. Wait. There's lots more.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small, coal-mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
We're back.
Roxanne Berkey says, you're right, CJ. Indie authors don't write to recipe cards. Great point. She also said, another great Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles book, Justice Awesome by Kelly Marshall. Kelly Marshall said, do you think readers like shorter books now? That's a really good question, Kelly. Kelly Marshall says, do you think readers like shorter books now than 5 years ago?
My answer to that question is yes. As the ADD society starts to grow, they're going to want shorter bites. I have a series that is like 400 pages long for the trilogies. They're like 400 pages each. But the same amount of word was in a series that was 5 books long at about 280 pages each. And that sold better than the trilogy. But once people get a hold of the trilogy, they push all the way through it because they say it's really good, but just the size intimidates them.
Interesting. Roxanne said, I think they like short chapters.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we are an instant gratification society now. So that could be it.
Mm-hmm. And the more turning toward audiobooks as well.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. One of our son-in-laws will only listen to audiobooks. He doesn't like to read a book.
Listens while he works. He listens while he drives,
And he's 40. I mean, he's not young. He's our youngest son-in-law, but
sad to say.
It's our baby daughter's husband.
Yeah, a lot of people read them when they're working out, when they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does.
Whatever they're doing, they listen, and which is great. But again, they're kind of slightly losing the power of imagination by doing that, because you're given kind of the voice. You're given, you know what I mean? You don't stop to soak in the words that you're reading.
George Dismukes makes a good point. He says, from an on-site marketing strategy, short books and trilogies sell better than one thick book, even if the trilogy costs more. That's right. I believe that's right. And Kelly wants to know, CJ, do you do audiobooks?
The Sands of Time trilogy is currently getting converted to audiobook. I do have somebody who's working on that right now. I think she's about 3/4 of the way through with it. So the Sands of Time trilogy will be on audiobook soon.
Yes. So Kelly had said, if so, do you narrate your own? So we know.
No.
I have, her name is Mombirella. She's actually one of my partners on Magic Making Mischief. When she does it, she sent me the first chapter that she just read for her YouTube video. And first of all, it was kind of like the old radio shows like War of the Worlds and stuff like that, where it had the sound effects. Really
yes.
So nice. I don't know if ACX will allow that part to it. But the other thing was she had like a ton of different voices. At first, I thought, because she has 2 children who are like, I want to say 15 and 18, I think. And then her husband, I thought she had them do some of the parts too, but it was all her.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how did you do that?
Yeah.
She absolutely loves the Sands of Time trilogy. So she was like all over the idea of doing it. So she's been working.
I don't know how they keep track of the different voices.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. When you're trying to do it all yourself, I'd get all confused.
But she's really good at it. She's been working her way through it, learning the whole ACX, how that works and what they're looking for with this book. So she'll be able to get the other 2 out much faster.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a steep learning curve. So yes. God bless her. But no, I actually hired her to do it. So
awesome.
I'm excited to get that out soon.
And Roxanne said, well said, George, about the trilogy, which yes, that's very true. I think that is true. It's something thinking. Roxanne said, a voice actor is worth their weight in gold. Indeed.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. I know Paul Hollis's voice actor is really good. He can do what the girl who's narrating yours can do, speak many different characters and carry on conversations as all those different people with different voices.
Yeah, it's as an author, you've got the different voices in your head and what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But as a reader, it's a different perspective. So
Yes.
when somebody else is reading your work, you know, it kind of adds a different twist to it. So I like that. I'm curious to see what she's going to do with it.
Mm-hmm. And I think probably you have I just think that when you're writing a book, you know where they're excited and agitated and all those different things, and you know what you would exaggerate more, and so it is interesting to see how a voice actor reads it.
Yeah, and she does the different voices. Like I couldn't do the different voices. I could do different accents, but I can't do different voices.
No, I don't know how people who do different voices do different voices. I have a voice.
I thought it was 4 different people that was reading, but apparently it was her. So I'm just like, okay, you're hired.
Well, Paul Hollis's voiceover actor who did his book, Gary Spangler, he's just like that. He does different voices where it doesn't sound like the same person.
It's great to find somebody who can do it.
I know. How talented are they?
They are. Like I said, I'm super excited to see what she does with it. So
yeah, that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's Tested by Fire, which is your latest book.
Yep.
And maybe you would like to do a little bit of reading from that.
I can do that. I said before, this is the beginning part. So you kind of get your first glance at Robin.
Okay.
So it kind of lets you kind of go and start to follow her mind and where it's going. So chapter 1 is Fire is Never a Gentle Master. Ben, Andrea said, jostling her husband. Ben, wake up. Honey, Ben mumbled in his heavy sleep state. Please quiet down so you don't wake Robin again. Ben, I'm serious. Something's wrong. Her voice faded as the color drained from her face. Ben, there's smoke coming from under the door, Andrea said, jumping out of bed. Looking to the window, she remembered the bars on the outside of all their doors and windows. The realization of the situation hit. Ben, we have to get to Stevie and get out of here. What do you mean? He asked groggy. There's a fire. Get up. Andrea's hand sizzled when she touched the doorknob. It's in the hall, Ben. Get up now. Stevie, he jumped out of bed. Robin, you need to go with Mommy, he said, wrapping the 8-year-old in a blanket, who had come to bed earlier due to a nightmare. Turning to Andrea, he instructed, keep her face covered until you're outside. He snatched a couple shirts from the hamper. Cover your face. Once I open this door, you need to run, he said, securing the shirt around Andrea's face. Then he put one on him as he added, I'll get Steven and meet you outside. Andrea nodded. The door flew open and the fire rushed in. It headed for the ceiling before tackling the room. Go, Ben ordered. Go now. Andrea bolted from the room into the flames. As she ran, she stopped for a moment to look at Ben. When she saw him duck into Stephen's room, the flames chased him in. Mommy, it's hot, Robin complained from inside the covers. She coughed, gagging on the smoke. Andrea pawed at the fire that was trying to eat the blanket wrapped around her daughter. Passing the kitchen, Andrea's head began to spin. Coughing, she dropped to the ground. Robin almost fell from her arms. Andrea could see the door in the living room, which led to the freedom and fresh air. Struggling to catch her breath, she cleared her throat and shook her head. She had to get Robin to safety. Come on, baby. We need to get out of here. Stumbling into the living room, the flames surrounded them. How will I get out of this? God, please help, she begged, tears streaking down her face as panic took over. I don't want my little girl to die. The fire-engulfed living room looked like a literal hell to Andrea. As she fought her way to the door, the fire consumed the bottom of the bookcase, causing it to fall. It caught the bottom of Andrea's leg. Tugging on her leg, the fire closed in on Andrea. In that instant, she realized the horrific reality and knew what she had to do. Andrea unwrapped Robin and threw the blanket into the fire. Honey, you need... Andrea knew she would not make it to the door, but Robin could. You need to get out of here. Quick, get outside. You need to come with me, Mommy, Robin pleaded, tugging on her mother's arm. You have to come with me. Andrea pushed Robin toward the door. Go. I can't, Robin sobbed. You have to come with me, Mommy. Go, Robin. Go get help. Running to the door, Robin fumbled with the bolt for a moment before she finally got it and the door unlocked. Turning to her mom, to tell her the good news, she saw her mom's body being consumed while she screamed in terror. Their entire home was fully engulfed by the flames. Wide-eyed, Robin stared at her, unable to form any thought. The door burst open and the firemen filled the doorframe. She saw them in skull, but never this close up. He snatched her out of the house, hugging her to his body. She watched over her shoulder as the firemen ran into the burning house after her family. Never taking her eyes off the house, she was enthralled by the way the flames devoured her home. They almost seemed to wave at her. "Come here, sweetheart," the paramedic said as the fireman handed her off before running back into the house. The paramedic carried her to the ambulance. She tried to see around him, but he blocked her view, which was good because it was at that moment when the fireman brought her mother's charred body out of the house. When he placed her on the ground, another fireman covered her body with a sheet. I'll stop there.
That is horrifying.
That's where she starts. It goes in a little bit further to talk about Ian, the fire marshal, and what he finds and what he discovers. And like I said, that starts her journey toward fire.
That was well written.
Intense, yes.
Marjorie Deering says, wonderfully intense, heart-wrenching.
Thank you. Like I said, that starts her journey. And she learns to kind of have like a love-hate relationship with it, a fascination with it more than anything.
Yeah.
But you kind of understand her mental journey on how it builds and how it goes.
Yeah. Roxanne says, wow, vivid imagery. Nice, CJ.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Joe Conjal said, nice reading. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Marissa said, aw. Kelly Marshall says, oh my, how sad. Well written. There you go.
Well, that's how it starts. So that was the very first chapter, and that's how it starts.
I hope it goes uphill from there.
It does.
Then it goes.
Good. Back down again. The roller coaster.
But, you know, it has a happy ending. Let's just put
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
Give encouragement. It has a happy ending.
Good note.
That's
news.
very good. That kind of gets you, though, doesn't it? In the feels when a kid is going through something like that.
Well, the next scene, after the fire marshal, he goes to the ER to talk to her a little bit. So it kind of puts you a little bit more into, where it's at. And the cool thing is Ian comes in later, the fire marshal. He's not the one that falls in love with her. His son is.
Well, that's good.
But it's kind of, I enjoyed doing it. Like I said, it was something unique. I haven't done romance before, so it was a little challenging. I'm a sci-fi geek. I own it. I love it. And so for me, it was difficult not putting any sci-fi elements into it, or paranormal, or anything like that. So it was a challenge.
I'm sure that it was. I don't think that I would be able to do it. I'm definitely a sci-fi paranormal mystery.
I am too. Like I said, it's not easy to write. No.
Kelly Marshall says romance is not easy to write, and she's right. Yes,
it's not. Like I said, it's action packed. I'm known for stories about the journey of the heart and the soul and action. I am ADD and OCD, so it's a bit of an interesting mix. So if I'm bored reading it, the chapter gets tossed. So
yeah,
not boring. Put it that way.
Everyone's OCD works differently, but hopefully.
I don't. It's part of that may be part of my pantser in me, because the ADD keeps everything moving at like a fast rate. Meanwhile, the OCD makes sure that all the characters are remaining consistent through the entire book series.
Definitely. Our OCD, we both have OCD, and it's completely different, which is really funny, because for me, I have to have like all of my shirts are the same color together in the closet. I know it's weird.
A long sleeve, but it's like just general color. So like all the blues, but shorts.
I do color, and I also do like almost like genre for my shirts. Well, these are for this, and this is for that. It's not alphabetical.
I will confess to my pantry spices all being in alphabetical order.
Oh no.
That was the thing.
Kelly says, keeping the romantic tension, pacing is the key. That's true. Definitely. And also making it real, I think, bringing the reader in to feel that is difficult. Kelly Marshall says, on Saturdays when I'm cleaning my house, I want to be OCD.
If I'm cleaning my house, it's usually due to nervous energy. So
Yep. But OCD does help in a lot of things. It's like, thank you, OCD.
Well, it's that because a lot of times my husband will ask me, "Where's this? Where's that?" And I can tell him exactly where it is, even like to the left or to the right, which usually I'm directionally challenged. So sometimes I'll say, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and stuff like that.
I am so directionally challenged. It's so funny. You know how some people always know where true north is? No. If the sun is in the sky and I stand there and I think, okay, it rises in the east, therefore I'm bad.
But you're in trouble if it's around noon because that's right dead center.
Oh, I'm really in trouble. I have no
How
idea
long
where
have
the
we
heck
lived
I
in
am.
this house? 7 years?
7 years.
Do you know which way is west?
No.
Okay.
I used to be a catastrophe adjuster, and I was probably one of the very few directionally challenged catastrophe adjusters. So I didn't have like a compass on my phone that would tell me north, south, east, and west. But my husband has learned I'm a landmark person. So he starts to go, well, you head here, head north. I'm like, no. Not allowed to use those words in this house. And I do know that my left hand makes an L. That's that one too. Yeah, that'll be left hand makes an L.
DJ McCool Jr. author says, nice. Hey,
DJ.
welcome to the audience, DJ. DG, sorry. CW Hawes says there's a compass app on your phone.
I know, I found it. I use it.
Well, we need to take some direction and head over to let the sponsors talk about their stories. So if you'll bear with us for a couple more minutes.
And then we'll be right
come back. And we'll tell everybody where to reach you and all that and see what's coming up in the future, right? And the book giveaway. So everyone stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book 1 of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
We're back.
I wanted to mention that the last commercial before last about the trilogy by George Dismukes about the Jaguar. He now has a 4th book going to be published here within the next couple of weeks. Should be coming out. Return of the Jaguar. So it's no longer a trilogy. It'll be a 4-logy.
No, it is
quadrilogy.
I have the trilogy, so I'm excited.
It is. It's really good.
One of our daughters is super excited, and she used to tell George all the time, write another one, because she loves Nadja. She loves the Panther. Love with Panther. Wants one.
Yeah, and the Enigma series is amazing. So
it is amazing. They write so well, don't they?
We do.
DJ McCoo Jr. says he's a sci-fi indie writer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right up our alley. That's what we like. Sci-fi. Like I said, I like lots of genres.
Okay, well, let's see. Looks like we can, people can get a hold of you on your website, through your website, cjpetersonwrites.com. That's cjpetersonwrites.com. And on there, all your social media links are there where people can catch you on YouTube and LinkedIn and everywhere else, right?
Yeah, I'm all over.
Facebook, everywhere.
When I first started writing, I was about a year into it, and I was invited to an indie author panel sort of thing with other really good authors, Kimberly Fish and Patty Wiseman. And I got to read a little segment from Grace Restored series, and a guy came up to me afterwards and goes, I went out and brought all your books. I'm like thinking, cool. And he goes, I didn't know who you were till today, but I love this. And I'm like thinking in my head, okay, I should be super excited that he bought all my books, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he didn't know who I was until today. So I made it my goal from that point forward to make sure it was difficult not to find me on the internet.
There you go. Okay.
That's a good idea.
Well, you're definitely out there, so.
I am. I'm kind of everywhere.
That's a good thing.
And you have podcasts and all kinds of things, all kinds of places people can find you.
Definitely. Feel free to email me. Like I said, I have the Shelf Life blog, which I do a lot of reviewing, and I do a lot of promo stuff through Lone Star Literary Life. I'm one of their bloggers. And sometimes I'll do, side ones of my own reviews of different books. I also have 2 podcasts, Magic Making Mischief with Mombirella and Yukita. And we go to different Comic-Cons. We just went to Purgatory Scream Park on the 14th. Super fun. I was a zombie Merida. Super fun. And then I also have Book World: The Great Escape with author Michael Scott Clifton on Wednesdays at 1. Magic Making Mischief is Wednesdays at 11. So it's podcast day.
Yes, and now you're on ours tonight, so it's been a real long podcast.
Like I said, like this one and Voice of the Indie. We also mention that one frequently as well, and love being able to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we love being able to talk to you too.
So getting a hold of CJ is pretty easy. Also on your email, cjpetersonwrites@yahoo.com. And the book giveaway tonight. Everybody, get your fingers ready and get ready to type. Your book giveaway is that the first 2 people to email cjpetersonwrites@yahoo.com will win an ebook copy of Tested by Fire. That's the one you gave us a little preview.
Yeah, that one has such a dramatic opening.
Right. So go ahead. And even if you're listening to this or watching this a week from now, go ahead and drop her an email, and maybe she has extra copies she wants to part with, or
you never know.
Maybe be generous. Who knows?
Start a conversation, if nothing else, right?
Exactly.
So.
Okay, I'll put this up again in a moment, but right now we have like 4 comments. Let's see. Okay, so Roxanne says, "Thank you, CJ. The Enigma series appreciates you." And Kelly Marshall says, "Oh yeah, sorry." Kelly Marshall says, "I'm just reading them. I'm making this up in my head." Yeah. CJ, when you read for pleasure, what do you read?
Oh, I read a myriad of things. Pretty much, like I said, a lot of them I do book reviews also for Lone Star Lit, but I haven't because we've been moving. But I love mysteries. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy. I've even read a few romance. But usually my hardcore stuff is usually mystery, sci-fi, fantasy, somewhere in those genres, because I like the action that goes with them and the intrigue of trying to figure out. If I cannot guess the end by at least the middle of the book, if not 3/4 of the book, to me it's a good mystery. And there's been very few that I have not been able to do that with. So when I find an author that's good like that, I make sure to keep and get all the books. And I have found a few of those.
When I started reading sci-fi many years ago, not many women liked sci-fi. So it was written more towards men. And but I loved it. I loved the whole idea of, science fiction and going to different worlds and all that kind of stuff, all the adventure. And and I loved, now I can't remember his name, Senior Citizen Moment. He wrote I, Robot.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about.
I do, but I don't. I can't.
I know. My daughter Patricia was even born on his birthday because that was my special tribute to him. No. No, it just happened to be the day she
I grew
was.
up in the 80s, so they're like one-hit wonders. So, like most 80s kids, I know the title. I don't always know the author.
Well, this is more than a one-hit wonder. He's
Yeah. But I mean, I usually,
Vacuum
my
cleaner.
brain goes as I remember titles, but I don't remember the authors. So Rox Berkey has already claimed one of them, so make sure to get your.
Oh,
choice.
good. Oh, God bless you, CW. I should have known you'd known. Isaac Asimov.
Yeah,
There you go.
Not only that, he was one of my professors at Boston University. Oh, and the only reason I took his class was because he
Wait,
was
he was a professor and you didn't remember his name?
right.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, do you want to know when I graduated from Boston University? Almost 60 years ago.
Wow. You did not look that.
So,
Close.
I mean, you know, well, I graduated from high school early and then I graduated from BU early. So,
Well, speaking of college, I just got some really cool news. I just got accepted with my daughter's accepted as well into Oklahoma City University.
great.
So I'm going back to school.
Awesome.
What are you going to major in?
Yeah, Roxanne,
Actually, psychology.
John, you lie, maybe 40.
That's what I'm saying. Psychology and biomed for right now. And then we're going to go to the master's for biomed and I think it's criminal justice. We're basically targeting like forensics, forensic psychology.
Ooh,
Cool.
In that area.
that sounds interesting.
Do we
And
see
it'll
some
help
true
you-
crime down the road?
It'll help you write.
Well, we see the food time right here where we are. So we're trying to get out of that. So
I'm just thinking, wow, think of all the knowledge you have. I was trying to do some research on DNA today. I spent quite a while on that and was quite frustrating that I couldn't find what I want. If I knew a forensic scientist, it would have been much easier.
well, that type of stuff just fascinates me to no end. Like one of the teachers, I took a criminal justice course this last year and we just missed the cutoff because they moved right before it. She was going to let us go in one of her CSI classes. And I was like, please.
Oh, yeah. George DeSmuke says, wait, what is forensic psychology?
Fun stuff. Look it up.
Yeah. Give him an overview.
Yeah, give him a little overview.
Yeah, have him look it up. No, it's fun. Part of that is kind of something along the lines of part of it goes with like the profiling is part of it. So that's one aspect of it.
Yeah. Psychological profiling for killers.
Yeah, forensic
psychos.
psychology is the same thing as forensic science, which you can look back and you can figure out what each thing is and how that happened. And you can do that in psychology also.
Yeah, like my daughter cracks me up. Actually, I crack her up. I will tell her what people are going to do before they do it all the time. And she goes, can you just sometimes be wrong? No, this is what they're going to do. And they end up doing it.
You're very, okay, here we go. Paul Hollis says, forensic psychology is a specialty in professional psychology characterized by activities primarily intended to provide professional psychological expertise within the judicial and legal systems. So like I said, it's just studying about the why people would do it and proving that that's what they do. The same way forensics proves different things by finding those things, and they can find that in the persons.
But profiling is also part of that, and that's kind of the part that I'm more interested in.
I bet a lot of profilers are very intuitive. Would be my bet. And that's why they went into it.
I'm excited.
Roxanne says, great, Paul. Yes, Paul, thank you. George Dismuke says, damn, Paul, all those big words.
Well, it's like, you know what it is, but you don't want to try to figure out how to explain it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, I do know what you mean.
Definitely.
It's like someone goes, well, describe forensics. I could, but you might want to just look it up. It's easier.
Paul Hollis says Google never lies. Oh no, it's always right. Wikipedia is always right too, Paul.
Mostly, yeah.
Oh, anyone can go into Wikipedia and put anything in there that they want. It's very open, so.
Yeah, and they can actually change what's currently in there.
So change history.
Absolutely. And it may have nothing to do with anything.
It's all cut out, but yeah, that's a thing.
Well, anyway, I did want to put up again, one more time, this Tested by Fire. Don't forget it. It's the newest book by C.J. Peterson. More are coming very soon, right down the pike, as you heard. Let's see, we've got another comment.
Heard it first.
Yes. Roxanne says, cross your fingers when you say that. But, okay, so you want to tell us, George says, well, Kelly Marshall says, love the cover. And George Dismuke says, cool cover. They are. It's a good.
I've actually been doing my own covers since the Sands of Time trilogy.
Good. So, very nice.
Well, you do a good job.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's fun. I like it. I actually, part of my process is I usually do the covers before I write the book.
That's a first. Yeah. I honestly, we've heard a lot of things from a lot of authors.
No, I do. I write the covers first. One thing that I do is I go to Dreams Time and I find the model that I want the character to be. And sometimes I can find the actual cover. So I already have the covers for the current series that I'm writing.
That's awesome. That really is. You want to at least give us the names of the other standalone books, your more recent ones?
Yeah.
Even though we don't have the
Chain Reaction is the time travel book where the great-great-great-grandson comes back to the great-great-grandmother who's currently in jail for a crime she didn't commit. Oh. And together they go back in time to change their family line. It turns out that Trip is the great-great-grandson, is the last in his family line. And so they're going back to change some critical choices that were made with certain ancestors. So what that does is two things. One, are they going to be there by the time all the time shakes out? And two, you get to kind of dive into different parts. So in 1813, the Battle of Put in Bay is where one of them is. 1922, 1987, and then I think 2026 is one of those. So that's Chain Reaction. And then the Tested by Fire is the other one. And then the Sands of Time, or the Strength from Within, is part of the Team Angel series. And the Team Angel series spans across multiple series. So the Strength from Within, the Grace Restored series, the Holy Flame Trilogy, and the Divine Legacy series, and Christmas Angels wraps that one up. And then, like I said, we have the Sands of Time trilogy. That one is, I tell people, it's like Stranger Things minus the mind flavor stuff meets X-Men. So it's
awesome.
It's fun.
Lots of fun.
And they can find all the covers and all the links on your website, right?
Yes, jpetersonwrites.com. Under the books, they have, some of them are series based. If you click on the books tab, it's a drop down. So there's, like, the Team Angel series has its own page. The Sands of Time trilogy has its own. The standalones have its own, the anthologies. And then I have two children's books, Sir Chief and Sarge, that have their own page.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. You can also find the podcast. You can find the blog. You can find Texas Sisters Press, more about that. You can find all sorts of stuff on the website. And also my pictures from our travels.
Awesome. George Dismuke says, great show. Gotta bail. We're getting packed. Amor siempre. That's the same to you, George, and safe travels. He's traveling to Oklahoma tomorrow.
Why is he traveling to Oklahoma, and where?
He's traveling to Oklahoma because his wife's family lives there.
Oh, cool.
Roxanne Durkee says, great segment. Thank you, Joan and Rob. Rob and Joan Carter, you rock. Thanks, Roxanne. So do you. So does everyone in our audience, and so does CJ. So glad that you could be here tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's always a joy to talk to you guys.
We're really glad that you could be on. And what a quick hour, Marjorie said. It was terrific. And Kelly Marceau said, I enjoyed. Well, we're glad that you enjoyed it, Kelly. You should drop in more. It has been a quick hour. It never ceases to amaze me how quickly this hour goes by. And, he's going to where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
It's wind and rain, so bring your umbrella, George.
He knows it's going to be raining. That's why we were saying raining buckets.
I'm not sure what that is.
I can't see it either.
Well, happy birthday. Like
okay.
Yeah. It's
tiny.
Sorry.
That's what
CW Hawes says, great show. Thanks, Rob, Joan, and CJ. Thank you, CW,
Thank you, everybody, for joining
and
us.
for bailing me out with Isaac Asimov, which
we're going to move you over to the side here. And thank you very much for joining us. Hang in there until we come back to you. Paul Hollis says, informative show. Thanks, Rob, Joan, and CJ.
And I want everybody to remember that we will be having Campfire Tales tomorrow night, Haunted Campfire Tales tomorrow night. If anyone has a really, really scary, true, though, paranormal experience that they'd like to have us either read about, or you can even pop on the show, we'll have you on the panel.
Right. You can go to Haunted Campfire Tales Facebook page or Tampa Bay Spirits Facebook page, or email us, carternovels@aol.com. We can steer you in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Next week, our authors join us for author Kay Hancock. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern time, of course, right here in the same old place. And you have anything else?
Oh, wait a minute. Marissa says, I love the show. Oh, I'm so glad that you do. Come back and visit us next week.
So, I guess you got nothing else, huh?
No.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right, then. All right, then. Until next time.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. Good night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.